First guy I'm going to introduce, I got the honor of hanging out with, is Frankie D'Agusta. He's a recording engineer for the last 30 years in the music business. I mean, this guy recorded with a lot of big people.
Worked with Peter Frampton, right?
Yeah, Peter Frampton, Mick Jagger, Stevie Wonder, John Lennon.
Oh,
I mean,
awesome.
that speaks for itself. So without further ado, Frankie, what's going
Johnny,
on, buddy?
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Randy. Thank you for having me on the show. It's a pleasure. And
You don't have to talk so loud. It's all
Okay.
good. So I'm warming up Peter Barron the last 8 hours,
that's
right?
true. That's true. Yeah,
Okay.
my ears are a little shot. But anyway, I wanted to talk about what was going on Staten Island in the 70s, 80s, and some in the 90s, okay? There was a lot of people on Staten Island who brought to the music world, in a global way, some of the best music you've heard, and was probably the soundtrack of your lives, and you've probably even kissed in the back of your cars to some of these songs, I'm sure, or maybe
Whatever.
whatever. And I guess, Johnny, if you want to show a couple of the records.
All right, let's get a close-up of these. We're going to start off with Peter Frampton, Comes Alive.
Now, this album here went to #1 twice. It started out at about 40 million copies, and it probably sells about 100,000 copies every year since then, and that was released in 1976. So if you do the math, maybe by now it's about up to 60 million copies.
Yo, I believe this album and the Kiss Alive 1 album were the top-selling records. I know Peter Frampton beat it.
Well, this was probably the top-selling live album of all time still.
Mm-hmm.
But the top-selling album, believe it or not, is the Eagles.
I meant live album.
Live album, yes.
Okay.
You're right, absolutely
Live
right.
albums was Peter Frampton and Kiss Alive 1.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, we got Elton John here.
Nope,
I'm
John
kidding.
Lennon.
John Lennon. Teasing you.
That was done in '74. That was done at a place called the Record Plant. And this is when I was first starting out. I got special thanks. And I got to meet John Lennon when they called, when he broke up with Yoko. This was called his Lost Weekend. And the Lost Weekend lasted for about 2 years. And this is when he was with a girl called May Pang. And John invited me up to his place where he lived on 51st Street. And I was supposed to go up there and set up his stereo. And we got to talking. And he was such a great guy. Besides the music and besides anything else, he was a real human being. A difference between him and the Stones is the Stones would leave a limo out there for 30 hours. The poor guy's sitting out front of the studio.
Huh?
John Lennon would get in a cab and say, see you tomorrow. Okay, bye. And that was it. That was the difference. And that's all I can say about that. I mean,
It's a shame. It was a big loss.
Oh, terrible, terrible loss.
All right, you got Al Di Meola here.
Well, Al Di Meola, I don't know if many people heard of him, but he was with a band called Chick Corea. He's probably the preeminent guitar player in classical and in jazz that's been around now for a couple of years, and his albums are critically acclaimed, and it's a really exciting album to listen to. It's terrific.
Well, this one right here, Peter Frampton, I'm in You. This is a big hit album right here.
Yeah, that album came out in 1977. That was kind of my big break album. The engineer walked out in the middle of the session, and they came up to me and said, "You're the new engineer." So my salary went, in 5 minutes, it went from something decent to something really decent in 5 minutes. And I shouldn't say that, maybe there's some tax people here. But anyway, that album was another great album. And from that album, I went on tour, U.S. and Canada. And then we went to make a movie in Hollywood called Sgt. Pepper, which I'm sure all of you love.
And that was with Peter Frampton, the Bee Gees, right?
It's Peter Frampton, the Bee Gees,
Yeah.
Aerosmith, Peter Frampton, and the Bee Gees.
I saw that movie with my father when I was 12 years old. My father was so bored he made me leave in the middle of the movie.
Yeah,
I remember George Burns in it, but
Okay, if he was in it, then yeah. Okay,
I actually
he
got
was
the-
probably the best guy in it.
I got the album.
Do you?
Yeah, it's a white
Okay.
album. It's a white
Well,
album.
the album was good because it was produced by George Martin,
Mm-hmm.
which produced the Beatles. Of course, you know, wonderful, great guy. I had the pleasure of having lunch with George Martin, and it was a special time. I mean, like I said, it didn't do too good as a movie, but
No, it kind of bombed.
it kind of bombed, and it kind of Frampton's career took a dive after that. But after you sell
Yeah.
70 million albums, I think you can afford to take a break
Yeah.
for a couple of years. But he never did not have a record deal. He had a record deal all the way through. Plays probably most of the year, every year since. Okay? And one little tidbit, we had Leonard Skynyrd's plane for the first part of our tour, and we had it for about a month, I'd say. Frampton got on that plane. He says, "I do not want this plane." And thank you, he said that, because we probably wouldn't have been here right now doing this show.
Uh-huh.
Or, I mean, he just felt that this was not the plane to be on. He had his manager cancel it, and we got a nicer plane, 4 engines, and, you know, that probably made the difference, because we toured double what they toured, and their pilots were starting to party with the band.
Uh-huh.
So that's how that plane went down. The engine went on fire.
Imagine that.
Yeah, the engine went on fire. He's supposed to put the gas from the right engine into the left. He dumps all the gas. And there goes the plane.
See, Frankie, you were blessed, so I'm going to bless you.
All right, all right, I love that.
That's good luck
Good
stuff.
luck. All right, I know. I'm going to buy a lottery ticket later. Well, this is actually the first Al Di Meola album. That's critically acclaimed, by the way. That's really the big album for Al Di Meola. And another great album. This one,
See, like a lot of these things you're showing us, a lot of these greats, like the younger generation, they won't even know who
they
they
won't
are.
even know it, but they should know it.
They
'cause
should know it,
They
exactly.
should know it. This is a very highly critically acclaimed album. Patti Smith,
Yes.
she did Because the Night, but there was a whole bunch of albums before Because the Night, and this is probably the ones that the critics love the most. Not because I was involved in it, but because it's just a fantastic album. And this one, of course.
Frankie Eldorado?
Frankie Eldorado. That's my album. I was signed. I was signed to Epic
who is
for a
this guy?
2-album deal, and you got to show the back cover.
This
Come
is
on,
sick.
Johnny. And my album came out. It you know, had some success. It was you know, went around the world once or twice, and in fact, a good friend of mine, Joey, played on it. Joe Maury, he's in
All
the
right.
audience, and a couple of good
Now,
guys.
Frankie, we're running out of time here.
Okay, all right.
Let's get to the good stuff here. This is all good. This is even better. We got the Patti Smith DVD
Yeah, this
life biography.
just came out last year. This is focusing on her first 4 albums,
Uh-huh.
and it's kind of like, what would you say, a behind the music kind of deal.
Biography, probably.
Yeah,
Right?
biography, talking about her life and just what was going on at the time.
Yeah, she was a good talent as
Yeah,
well.
how the city was at that time and the whole thing. And, of course,
We can't forget Peter Barron's CD, Active, which he's going to be playing a song off it, I guess, today.
absolutely.
Talk a little about this.
Yeah, this is this came out I'd say about a year ago, and this is no, actually, yeah, about a year ago, and this is tonight you're going to be hearing a song from this, and Peter Barron's here to perform it tonight.
Well, Frankie, listen, thank you very much for coming down.
Okay, Johnny.
I want you on in the future again.
No doubt.
And God bless you.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Good night.
Frankie D'Agusta. All right, Frankie D'Agusta, everybody. See,
Yeah.
you learned a little rock and roll
Interesting.
education
Very-
there.
Yeah.